Welcome back to the channel, guys, and welcome to a very special car. One that I've been wanting to drive for so long. This is a 1991 Chevrolet Corvette C4 generation ZR-1. I've never driven any C4 Corvette, and yet here we are starting with the top dog, the highest performance C4 that Chevy ever made. Shout out to Sheldon from the Auto Paddock, a local Bay Area used car dealership, for letting me review this absolute beast of an American sports car. And shout out to Kevin Jabal from the Jabal & Cars YouTube channel for making this review possible as well. Man, from outside, the way I would sum up the C4 ZR-1, especially with this aftermarket body kit and wing, is American Gundam. That's exactly how it looks to me, with all the vents, the kind of squared 80s design, and the side skirts and the wing. It's just so retro and so cool. I love the way this car looks. But when this car came out, it was the highest performing American sports car, I think, ever. Top speed of over 175 miles per hour, 0 to 60 in less than 5 seconds. And of course, this has the LT5 naturally aspirated V8. Every factory C4, regardless of trim, came with a 5.7 liter V8. And yet this LT5 makes by far the most horsepower. 375 horsepower, 370 pound-feet of torque, 7,200 RPM redline. And this engine was only offered in the ZR-1. In fact, this engine was co-developed by Lotus and manufactured by Mercury Marine, since GM's own production facilities here in the US couldn't handle the special assembly that this LT5 required. Compare that to the original base L98 V8, which was a pushrod engine and made only 250 horsepower. This one, 32 valve, dual overhead cam, technology that wasn't used in any Corvette until the much more recent C8 Z06. This has an aluminum block and it holds an astonishing 12 quarts of oil, something that we had to find out the hard way this morning when it was low. We kept putting more and more oil into it just because it hadn't been checked in a while. But yes, oil changes on this car, not going to be cheap. This also has the ZF 6-speed manual transmission, unlike the base models which had either a 4-speed auto or a 4-speed manual. So what does the ZR-1 give us other than the engine and the transmission? Well, we have wider rear body panels that fit 315 millimeter rear tires. They're 11-inch wide wheels. The fronts are 275 millimeters on a 9.5-inch wheel, 17s all around. We also have FX3 selective ride control standard on the ZR-1. This uses Bilstein adjustable shocks to give us electronic damping control. Although in this car, unfortunately, it is not working, so we're just in the middle setting. This also has a larger rear sway bar, larger brakes, a Bosch ABS system, and a low tire pressure warning system. MSRP for this, back in 1990, 1991, was $65,000, whereas the base Corvette was only $32,000. Current market value ranges anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000, depending on mileage and condition. And this car is quite a bit heavier than the base Corvette at around 3,400 to 3,500 pounds. Still, better power to weight ratio than something like the contemporary Acura NSX. A lot of horsepower for the money. I mean, 375 horsepower back then for a naturally aspirated engine, that was nothing to scoff at. It is so quintessentially 80s. I mean, compared to my NSX, this feels like stepping back in time another decade. All the gauges are so 80s. Just the font, the color of the backlighting, and I absolutely love it. But how does it drive? That's the question. So there's a key actually down here where you have to make sure it's in full in order to use this key to turn on the ignition. Now, another problem with this particular car is that the tach is not working. So it looks like we're probably 4,000 or 5,000 RPM higher than we actually are. So I have no idea when I'll be hitting the red line unless I actually hit the limiter. No drive modes here, just some very worn out brakes that basically require me to stand fully on the pedal, but I'm still gonna try to let this LT5 engine sing. Visibility out the front is actually quite good. Seating position fits me perfectly. But look at this, we're crawling and it says we're at 4,000 RPM. This should be interesting. These brakes inspire zero confidence. The steering, hydraulically assisted, not much feedback, slow ratio, and quite a bit of slop just on center. So much noise from inside the cabin, from the engine, the tires, and just the squeaks and rattles from the interior. Not easy to heel toe because the footwell is so narrow that they had to push the gas pedal all the way up against the brake pedal pretty much. It's hard for me to keep my hands at 9 and 3 with such a slow steering ratio. Shifter has super long throws. It's very notchy. Good throttle response. Slightly lazy compared to modern V8s, but still very linear. You always know what you're gonna get when you flip that throttle. Oh my gosh, so much noise from inside the cabin. No brake performance at all. This had pretty advanced Bosch ABS for the era, although I don't know if I can even get it to engage with how weak these brakes feel. Dodging a squirrel there. Not the best build quality, I must say. This is a far cry from the Acura NSX. Look at this. This thing won't even stay down. Well, let's see about this straight line performance, shall we? Let's see if we can get close to red line. You know what? Even though this is a dual overhead cam 32 valve V8, unlike the normal GM pushrod V8s, this doesn't really have the greatest top end. I feel like the engine kind of loses steam near the top. I don't exactly know where the top is based on the sound, but I can definitely feel the engine doesn't really want to rev out that much. Maybe that's just this particular example, not sure. But I was hoping for a little bit more theater from this motor. Does make a good sound though. The suspension on this car, not bad for 35-year-old technology. I'm sad that we can't get the FX3 electronic adjustment to work, but even in the normal setting here, good body control, decent compliance over bumps, pretty confidence inspiring in terms of the overall handling. Pretty good turn-in as well. Not much understeer. All things considered, handles quite well. I just wish it had a slightly quicker steering ratio. There we go. Oh, I can feel some shimmy from the steering wheel when driving over these reflectors. Oh, the chassis rigidity of this thing is very low. There's so much flex. But that being said, this is just such a cool car, man. I love how it looks. I love sitting in this thing, just looking at these super 1980s gauges and materials. This truly is like going back in time, 3.5 decades. Love being able to see the bulge on this massive hood that opens like a clamshell. Just wish these brakes were better. We're absolutely crawling on corner entry because I just have no confidence in the brakes. Well, look at this. Lots of grip mid-corner. Good composure. I actually think this car handles pretty well as long as you don't have to get on the brakes. Oh, there goes that compartment again. Man, this shifter has such long throws and this giant leather shift knob. You have to be really intentional when you drive this car. The controls actually surprisingly aren't that heavy, with the exception of the clutch, which actually has a very short travel but requires a lot of pressure. But outside of that, pretty easy car to drive. My NSX steering is way heavier and probably just as slow in terms of the ratio. There's a pop from the back every time I lift off. Man, I don't know if this engine is just tired, but it does not feel like 375 horsepower. It feels like maybe 300 at most. Granted, at almost 3,500 pounds, this car's not light, especially for early 90s standards. But I was expecting a bit more from this motor. It makes a great sound, it has good throttle response, but the power output is not what I expected. But you never know with a car of this age if it's making the full factory horsepower number. Super cool driving experience though, no doubt. One of the coolest looking cars on the road. I mean, if you find one for, say, $30,000 that's actually in decent driving condition, I don't know what else would have more presence. This is such a cool experience. Is it an amazing driving car or even just an amazing driving Corvette? I mean, I think you know the answer to that already. This is 35 to 40-year-old technology we're talking about here. But as an experience, as a way to go back in time and appreciate what GM had to offer in a very different era, this thing is pretty damn impressive and special. So again, a big shout out to Sheldon. Check out his dealership. I'll put the link in the video description. What do you think about the C4 ZR-1 compared to its contemporary rivals like the NSX, the 993 Porsche, the Ferrari 348 and 355, and of course the first gen Viper? How do you think it stacks up? In terms of looks, I think it's pretty damn close to the top. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.